thingy.
Oh God.
It's okay. Stall, Rachel, stall. Are we live?
I love you.
Okay, here we go.
love-
Welcome back. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the RF Fitness Podcast, brought to you by rffitness.net, your source for online coaching built for and by busy grown-ups just like you who are on the quest for health and strength in everyday life. I am your host, Rob Finlayson, certified older brother, professional fitness coach, and actually healthy guy this time.
Oof.
And I'm
Big flag.
finally here with my co-host.
Hey. Rachel.
That's you. You say your things now. It's
Sorry,
been a
it's
while.
been so long. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's been a while.
Rachel Hammond, certified younger sister. And decently healthy, but very scared.
Scared of
The world. But
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, dude, the sicknesses are sicknessing, and
They sure are sicknessing.
and I am terrified because everything is going around. It is the boogeyman.
I kind of thought we were out of since we cleared the holidays, like I haven't heard of anyone getting noro. So I thought we were like out of the woods with that at least, and it seems like, knocking on wood here so far, it seems that that's the case so far. But yeah, it's just like now there's flu and stuff.
The respiratory stuff is insane.
Yeah,
and I have just been gearing the F up in every way and just trying to do all my research and trying to like get all the zinc and the vitamin C and the humidifiers.
Be a whole episode. It's like dealing with kids who are sick all the frickin' time. But that's not what today's episode is. Well, okay, so here's the thing. Olivia, it's really weird. Since we got into kindergarten, I feel like she's been sick a lot less often and less intensely than when she was in the pre-K stuff.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't know why. Those kids just are sick all the time. We got noro. We got fucking super respiratory stuff every year.
Right. I think that's just because she had a weaker immune system.
I guess. Maybe, yeah. I think part of it probably is also that the kids are better at washing their hands and stuff now, and there's more... I don't know.
I think it's immunity.
Anyways. You know what? You're right. It's immunity. So, we want to talk a little bit about where were you? What are you? What have we been up to since... I think we recorded our last episode together before Christmas, even like the week before Christmas. The week before Christmas was the last time we had an episode.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So I have just been going through it.
If you can believe it.
Yeah. Right. Mostly with parenting, which also includes parenting a sick kid, parenting as a sick parent. Parenting alone because it is ice fishing season, which is my single mother time, and
lovely.
Yep. And then we literally have one babysitter, mom, and she won't watch Linnea when she is sick for legitimate reasons. But it seems like if Linnea isn't sick, then mom is sick. And then it's basically just nonstop, no break for me.
Cool.
So that's been just kind of causing me to have some mentee bees.
Mentee bee? Yeah.
And I am also currently I'm like dealing with all the things that, oh my God, that stay-at-home moms have to deal with. Also, if you are a stay-at-home mom, or I guess even just a mom, the movie, which I think we had talked about, Night Bitch.
Yes, did you watch it?
I watched it, and I have never been more so enthralled by a movie. I've
Dude, I liked it a lot. It was very good.
It was so good. I mean, you're dad, so I guess it goes to show you that it's just a good movie. But I literally just like made Eric watch all the monologues, and I was just like,
Sure.
every single word this woman is saying
Yes.
is how I feel.
Yeah.
Um,
All the time.
all the time, every single day. Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god, it's just like I've never been more seen. Um, it was nuts.
I had seen ads for it a while ago, and I was like, "Oh, we should check this out." I'm always stoked to see it, obviously because she loves Amy Adams and has like watched a couple press things. I guess most of the women who were in the movie did. So,
Oh yeah.
so it was like Amy Adams and like the three women who she hangs out with
Mhm.
over the course of the film, her mom group. And they were saying that it's like a dark comedy for women, and it's a horror movie for men.
Yes.
Is how they described it. I didn't find it particularly horrifying, other than the, obvious body horror stuff that pops up, but even that I thought was more, like, just cool and interesting than anything else.
Yeah,
But
right.
but for the most part in that film, the dad is just a fucking worthless pile.
Yes.
Sucks. It sucks
Happiness
to
is a
see it.
choice.
God, this fucking Mo and I both were like, "Fuck this guy, get punched, dude."
Yeah, yeah. He's the worst days.
Yeah,
But yeah, so just kind of going through the thick of motherhood, and also just going through the thick of figuring out my relationship with food. And so you and I had talked about it before. We're
yeah,
not going to super go into it this episode, because we already have a good episode planned. But just hashtag vulnerability because it's so great. I don't know. It just hits different being vulnerable on the podcast. I don't know because like I'm not telling these people, I'm not like seeing their faces, so it makes me a little less embarrassed about it.
sure.
But so just coming at you with mad vulnerability and mad embarrassment, I guess, which I should not, but I am. That I am in eating disorder treatment for binge eating. Um, and so it really opened my so I started December 4th. And so I think that's also why I had a lot of breaks or whatever from the podcast is because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Um, and things are rough in life. And how I deal with when things are rough is with food. Um, and so things are the roughest they've ever been in life. And so things are the roughest they've ever been with food. Um,
Sure.
and so I was just like, oh my God, something's got to give. And I guess it's me seeking out treatment because it was, I mean, also with counseling from Missy. Um, Basically, I have enough issues to talk about with Missy, not not including the food stuff. So she found like sought out, asked a bunch of questions and sought out a program that she really liked, which was really cool. It's a year-long program. I have a 5-person team. I
Damn.
meet with a dietitian and a therapist every week.
Damn.
Um, yeah,
A therapist different from Missy? Like an additional one?
correct. So
Okay.
I am meeting for three times a week on top of working part-time
Yeah.
and raising a kid.
And being on a podcast.
And being so I'm sorry podcast, but it was just like something's gotta give.
Yeah.
Um but I mean I mean honestly mostly it's just because Linnea's just been having a time.
Having some trouble with sleep and bedtimes lately.
The slep of it all. So
The sleepiness or the lack
yeah.
of it.
The lack of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think what you had reached out, said, what are we going to talk about this episode? And
Mhm.
kind of the biggest thing, my biggest assignment essentially from treatment is to eat. Super weird because that is I'm like nailing it.
It feels like
But
that. Yeah, it would feel like that's the opposite of what you'd think they would tell you to do,
right.
right?
But it has definitely opened my eyes to some patterns I have of restriction
Mm,
and then binging because I do and don't purposely restrict myself for the entire day essentially because
right.
I am too busy trying to feed
Yeah.
this picky eater
Yeah.
and trying to make food that she will like that I do not have enough time to make stuff for myself and
Nah.
um yeah so the the biggest thing that I've been talking with throughout the treatment has been like how can I prioritize myself when I am trying to make sure that my daughter gets the best possible nutrition when all she wants to do is eat chicken nuggets and gummy bears
Gummy bears.
and watch Christmas skeletons. Um,
Hawaii Christmas grandpas.
yeah,
TJ throwing it back, freaky style. Oh man, good times. Yeah. So we wanted to make this week's topic on picky eaters, specifically how to deal with them and how to sort of balance an approach to the nutrition needs of a picky eating child while also honoring your healthy fitness, quote unquote, or even just like sanity around eating as a parent.
yes,
Two, because it's luck, because I also have a picky eater.
yes.
Um, and it's not just a phase, mom. This is who I am.
Whips bangs.
Whips her bang, which she does have bangs. Yeah, before the show, you were saying like they say it's just a phase, and I said, well, it's been like 6 years, so it's a long phase that can end any day now. But we'll get into more with that after the jump.
Wee.
Whee! Where? All right, jumping back in.
Okay.
Wah-ah! Ah, I did a cool landing. You guys just didn't see it because it's
I
an
fell.
audio format. You can say anything. You don't have to say you fell. So our topic of the week: being a healthy and fit parent with picky eater kids. So like we've just said, we each have a, I would say, a wealth personal experience with picky eaters. Um, for Olivia, it's been pretty much forever. She's always been very particular about the kinds of foods she will eat.
Like even as a baby, like a toddler baby.
I don't think she's ever really eaten chicken, like in any form, not even chicken nuggets, really. Like there would be some times, even as a baby, as a toddler, preschool, now school age, like I can get her to eat like maybe one chicken nugget a year. That's not an exaggeration. I think it's about what it averages out to.
Linnea would eat 1,000 chicken nuggets a year.
I would love that because that's protein, and we have to work so hard to get any kind of protein into
So
this kid.
any meat source or just chicken?
It's very specifically anti-chicken. She will eat. We had tacos tonight, beef tacos. She really likes taco meat style tacos, which is just ground beef with um, very light seasoning. Can't be having any actual spicy. Just salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And then I thicken it up with cornstarch and water. So I think it's like that thickened texture she likes a little bit more to the beef specifically.
Don't you put
Because when
cottage
I
cheese in it?
no, not always. That's if only I'm gonna eat it. If I have to
But
serve it
does
for the
she
rest of the
know?
family, no. But Mo does, and she thinks it's weird. Mo is
Mo, do it for the
also a bit
kid.
of a Mo is also a bit of a picky eater. Not to the point where I can't feed her because she's an adult and can feed herself, so that's not my job. But I will say so we've been married almost 10 years now. We dated for about 4 years before that. When we first moved in together, her eating habits were so different from what they are now. And she'll say the same thing that like, since I've always done the majority of the cooking and the food stuff and the grocery shopping the entire time we've lived together. And like since doing that, her like palate has expanded and
Yeah.
I think grown.
Mine super has with Eric.
Right. So I think it's a thing of just like exposure, and
Right.
sort of also almost like not having that choice, I guess. Cause like if I make a meal, it's like, here's what it is. Like if I make a meal for my wife and she says, I don't like this, s- sorry. Make your own meal then. You're a grown up, right? It's the
Right.
same reaction I have when my daughter says the same thing. But Olivia's 5 and
Yeah.
Mo is 30 something, so she can just
Well,
make a
yeah,
sandwich.
that's a pretty legitimate.
But also Mo at this point likes what I make enough and
Right.
trusts me. Thank you, my love, if you're listening to this, trusts me enough when I make something that doesn't look quote unquote normal or aesthetically pleasing, she'll still try it. And 9 times out of 10, she says, that's actually really good. My favorite meal to make is something we just call pile. I just put a pile of things into a bowl, and it usually turns out
Interesting.
pretty darn good.
Dude,
Love a
my
bowl.
my favorite dish lately has been butternut squash pasta with sausage.
Ooh, that
Oh,
sounds
it's
pretty slapping in for sure.
yeah, man. It's goat cheese, pasta, butternut
Goaded.
squash, Italian
Damn.
sausage, all in one
Damn.
pan. Put it in the oven.
Yep.
I use the frozen butternut squash from Target.
Oh, smart.
Super easy to make.
Yeah. I gotta start doing that. That's packed with nutrients and minerals, dude.
I know. Not shockingly, Linnea approved. Um I got her to make it with me one day.
Yeah.
Um and she took more bites than she took when she did not make it with me.
Okay.
But I mean, the in her defense, goat cheese is a pretty strong taste,
Yes.
and I feel like people either love it or hate it.
I love goat cheese. Oh my god.
God, I love goat
Good. I'd
cheese.
eat goat cheese on a shoe, dude.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, I will send you the recipe for it.
I think you just did. It sounds like it all just goes into a pan and you cook it.
Okay, whatever.
Which is
I
my favorite,
also
which is by the way, is my favorite type of recipe and the type of thing I make the most often. Just put it in there and make it
yes.
hot. Now it's cooked. Now you're cooking.
Yes.
If you change
So,
the temperature
actually,
and the texture of something, you are cooking.
I know this isn't super going with our agenda. Sorry, not sorry. But I, with my dietitian, well, and my therapist as well, created the idea to just make delicious, um, what they call combination meals
Mhm.
versus like a plated meal of like half grain and one fourth
Sure, yeah,
veggies, one
whatever.
fourth protein, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, also, hashtag vulnerability. My dietitian was just like, I'm going to share my screen with you and show you this picture of, the Equip plate. Equip is the name of the program or whatever. And this is what it looks like. And she was just like, there is so much. Take a break. How are we feeling? And to me, that's just like so puffy and like
Sure.
stupid. And I'm just like, move on, shut the fuck up. And so she's like, how does it make you feel? And I was just like, I mean, I'm just looking at a plate. Why would that make me feel anything? And I was like, it's the same plate. And I was like, it's the same plate I've been looking at since essentially like fourth grade when I started dieting. I know exactly what this plate is. This plate has been haunting me for the rest of my life. And then I started crying.
Oh my god.
And then she was like, oh, it just takes it.
Whoops.
And I was like,
We found a trigger. Whoopsies.
oh, turns out I have feelings about this.
This plant made me feel feelings and I hate it.
Yeah. So, but so we are capitalizing on combination things, which is sounds like you love it too, like casseroles, curries, like that kind of thing. Basically, like not exactly like meal prepping for the week sort of thing,
Mhm.
but just like making a big enough amount that it can be eaten for the next 2 3 days.
Yeah.
and and also concentrating on things that actually make me want to eat it.
Eat it?
uh
Mhm.
because I will often make things that are like super healthy because
Yeah.
I want Linnea to eat them, but she doesn't eat them no matter what.
Right.
And then I just have a 9 by 12 casserole dish full of, because Eric does not like healthy food. Um, and then we're all just kind of like, well, this is gross.
That sucks, dude.
Yes, it sucks a lot.
I feel like honestly, I feel like the same thing happens to me a lot. Maybe not to the same like volume, because like I'll make stuff. We're a big ingredients house. Um, where I just have a bunch of like this thing is made in bulk, meat is made in bulk, this type of vegetable is made in bulk, these grains are made in bulk, and then you just the capital U. I just whip together a meal of different types from those things. Mo never really cultivated that skill set because she didn't work in a kitchen for a
Yep,
year
not
like I
me
did.
at all.
It was just it, which is just fine. It's something I kind of take for granted. And obviously Olivia doesn't because again, she's 5. So these ingredients oftentimes I'll mix so much and be like, this will feed the entire family for a week. And then like 30% of it just goes bad in the fridge
Yep,
because the girls don't eat it because I'm
right.
the one who's eating it. And even I can only eat so much of even a
Yep,
hyperfixation meal,
yep.
which I do get like once a month. And it's like I'll eat just this for like basically 2 weeks straight.
It's gonna be the butternut.
It probably will be.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
It sounds very good. But okay, so let's talk a little bit about what picky eating looks like at the table
Yep.
for us. For Olivia, it has it has consistently been I've probably bitched about this in previous episodes. Like I'll make a meal for me and Mo. I'll make a separate or sometimes at least very similar meal for Olivia. I'll sit down to eat it. Olivia may or may not take a single bite and say, it's gross, I don't want it. She just takes a look at it, makes a face, meh, it looks like a Calvin and Hobbes cartoon. Says, says, I'm not gonna eat this ever, never, never, ever. And then I'll say, well, this is what there is, man. This is dinner. And then she'll fly into hysterics. You never want me to eat anything. You're saying I can never have food for 100 years. Just as you want me to go into the street and get run over by a car and die because you just hate me so much. Dude, every little thing is that. Every little thing is that. It's kids got big feelings about everything.
Why do so many people have kids?
I I can tell you why we have one.
Yeah.
That's for goddamn sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a lot. It takes a lot to deal with it
Yeah,
in a healthy
man.
way, and I don't always. I'm not always able to. I try so hard.
Ugh.
But that's what it looks like. In the past, when she was much younger, we've dealt with it in different ways. Mo and I certainly in different ways, in our own ways. Mo, I think, has been much more accommodating to Olivia's like palette and profile. Like, okay, you don't like this, I'll make you PB and J or whatever. It's like you can have this or like standard food. If it's at breakfast, I'll make you can eat what Rob makes you or an egg. If it's lunch, you can eat what Rob makes you or a sandwich. Same with dinner. It's like it's this. So you have the standby thing, and like that quote air quotes worked for a while until she decided she's sick of those things as well. Like now she won't eat eggs unless we basically have to bribe her with candy essentially.
Mm,
Um
that's
and
on the no-no list.
it sure is. That's a whole other conversation, man. We don't literally bribe her with candy, but it's a whole thing with school lunch, whatever.
Mm,
Um and she just decided she went through like 36 hours where she was like, I don't like peanut butter or jelly sandwiches anymore. And I think Mo and I were both like, absolutely not.
yeah,
You will continue to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That
right.
is a rule. So instead she decided just to be incredibly picky about what exact status of peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
You don't
We will
say.
I do say we were at your house the other day and you made her a sandwich on bread that is not the normal bread that we have at home.
Okay, so what is the normal bread that you have, just out of
It's
curiosity?
it's just like the oldie brand whole wheat. That's it.
Okay, which has no visible seeds.
Which
I've
has
had
no
that
visible
bread.
seeds. It's basically textureless. It's like a step up from just fucking white bread,
Right,
basically. And she won't eat crusts.
right.
But
That's why I thought the Uncrustables was gonna be the
I was
win.
also surprised, to be completely honest, because you had the cute little circle cutout thingy, and you cut it out, made it an Uncrustable into a circle, and she's like, "Gross, no."
So thrown off.
So thrown off. I'm also sorry she vomited all over your carpet.
Thank you.
Kind of a party foul, Olivia. Um, Probably not related. But I think the big thing with her there is that it
Yeah,
was
she did
bread
not
and
eat the
not.
sandwich and then puke. That's not what happened, okay?
Yes, in fact, you bagged the sandwich for us to take it home, and on the ride home, she was complaining about how hungry she
God.
was. I'm like, "Yeah, no wonder you're hungry. You just puked up everything in your stomach. Eat this sandwich." And she was like, "Ew, no."
Be like, "All
I
right,
did,
let's eat the side of this building for
right? Literally. "Oh, do you have any, like, styrofoam? Do you have any, like, snow that's been hooked onto the bottom of your car for a day and a half? I'd rather
car
eat
snacks."
that than actual food." Um, we have to try so hard not to make this just a bitch about our kids
Okay,
episode,
okay,
but that's
yes.
basically what it's going to be.
Yeah. Be cool, guys.
Anyone with kids knows what it's like to want
Yes,
to bitch about your kid all the time.
yes.
I have to
And
sing it
then
or it sounds really mean.
but yeah, and then also just be like, "I would be so incomplete without you. You are my goddamn everything. I could not be any more obsessed with you."
Right. Yeah.
It's
Hashtag
like a
night bitch.
mental illness.
A child is like a mental illness. Yes. How about your experience with having a picky ear? What does that usually look like?
So I try to hit the ground running with it and do baby led weaning, which is
Mhm.
a really weird term for it, in my opinion, but it's essentially just feeding your baby whatever you're eating, modifying it for
Right.
safety reasons, and that is it. Um, and Linnea was not an incredible eater, but like a pretty darn good eater.
I mean, I feel
Um,
like before the last, like, 2 or 3 months, every time I'd see her, she'd be like she ate, like, curry and stuff, like, it was blowing me and Mo's mind to see what Linnea would eat, especially compared to Olivia.
right. Yeah, I definitely think it's gotten worse. I
Right.
know it's gotten worse lately.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm trying not to, I was talking to my bestie M, who her kids are really good eaters. They love this one super healthy meal that I make. Her kid, specifically her older kid, is just like, "Oh my god, Rachel made the quinoa beefy pepper casserole," and I'm like, "It is not that good, kid." But,
Alright, man. Okay.
um, she was saying that she like always has vegetables in
Mhm.
in a meal, and she was just like, they just, I don't know, get used to it or something. Um, and I feel like I've given up because I'm like, well, I know she's not going to eat it, but like, of course she's not going to eat it if it's never even offered. It's
Yeah.
just the food waste of it all that really gets to me. Um,
Yeah, we got a compost bin, and that has honestly alleviated so much mental anguish on my part,
okay, that's a good
because
idea.
I had the same thing. I had, like, legitimate mental anguish about how much food we were wasting. Like,
Right.
this is awful for the environment. Like, the
Hmm.
ecological impact of my kid being a picky eater is untenable for so many
Right.
reasons.
Right.
But then we got a free bin from the city, or we paid like whatever to
Oh, so
rent
you're
it for
not
one
using it in
time.
your own garden?
Well, no, it's January, so there's not much gardening to do right now. But the city,
What?
what?
Dude,
Sorry, that's a little sassy answer.
Linnea had a meltdown that we could go to the beach yesterday. She put her beach hat on
Oh no,
and said, "Let's go to the beach."
sorry, kid.
Yep. And then she also had a meltdown that she couldn't turn her arm around 360 degrees. It's a mental
Limitations
illness.
of this flesh disgusts me.
It was so ridiculous. And then she tried to turn mine and she's like, okay, anyway. Yeah, so I try my best to ask Linnea to take a no thank you bite. Take one bite. If you don't like it, you say no thank you. She is also so obsessed with gummy bears. This kid
Sure.
lives for gummy bears. So, I see in all these things for like pediatric eating, to offer what they ask for, like along with supper. Um, so today we are leaving the play date and I said, okay, well, we gotta go home and eat. I always struggle with Eric religiously says supper. I religiously say dinner. We gotta go
Does it
home and eat.
matter?
Yes, because dinner is lunch.
What?
You've never heard that? It's very confusing. It's a farmer thing. Eric likes to play farmer, and we'll we'll say farmers say breakfast, dinner, supper. I know.
Isaac, I'm sure you're listening to this. I want you to weigh in the comments and hit me up.
Oh, is he a farmer?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, not currently, but his family is.
Okay, fair. Yeah, so go home and eat supper. And she was just like, well, I want gummy bears. And we were hanging out with like a very on the game mom, like
Yeah.
perfect mom. And I was just like, we don't eat gummy bears. Um
That's great. I don't know what she's talking about. Get in the car.
but I was just like,
Kids
oh,
are so funny.
no, we gotta eat supper. And she was just like, supper and then gummy bears? And I was like, yeah. So she's like, no, just gummy bears. So today, after she was on her ish about it, I was just like, okay, yeah, we can have the gummy bears, but we're gonna have them with supper. Um, Normally I will just give in and give it to her, but I was just like really trying to hit these
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yep.
So I said, no, we're gonna wait and we'll have them with dinner. And she ate all of her dinner. Granted, it was just chicken nuggies.
Sure.
But then didn't ask for the gummy bears until like half an hour after eating,
Oh.
which was
All
pretty
right.
cool. And then she's also just been not eating fruit. I was just like, that's like the one thing that kids will
Yeah,
eat.
what? Dude,
Yeah.
Olivia's been off berries for a while too. She's like, I don't want to eat these. I put blueberries out, and she's like, nah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, that's the one thing with like nutrients.
I know. It's like I thought I could lean on berries forever.
Dude, yes, for real. And I used to like bitch about the fact that she would only eat berries.
I know. No, I wish she would eat more berries.
Right?
That came back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah, but today I tried dipping them in yogurt. And I was just like, oh, do you want some food
Ah.
sauce? And then she
Mm.
kept asking me if there was corn in the yogurt.
Is there?
Nope, we've never had corn yogurt.
Hmm. Maybe you should.
Super didn't understand where that was coming from, but I don't know. It was lemon yogurt,
Okay.
so it was yellow. I don't know.
Very
I don't know.
corn-like flavor
I
profile.
guess so.
Love it in corn.
But yeah, just like these ideas of like switching up, and you just try to make it fun, which also leads me into this TikTok that if you have a young toddler and you look up things about picky eating on TikTok, you have seen this. And it is this, I think she's a nanny, who records herself introducing like quote unquote really healthy foods to this kid that she watches or whatever, and she's cutting a bell pepper, and she was just like, do you want to wear a crunchy red pepper bracelet? And so it's like a ring, and she was just like, oh, you could put it on your wrist. Ooh, it's a bracelet. I wonder how that bracelet tastes. Is it crunchy? And So then she's just like, "Oh, you want more?" And then now all these, like, moms are making their versions of crunchy red
Sure.
pepper bracelet. "Do you want a crunchy red pe" and she just keeps saying crunchy red pepper bracelet. And so the
Like it brainworms you.
yes. And
Yes.
then so, like, the mom's like, "Do you want a crunchy red pepper bracelet?" And the kid's like, "No."
Why would they? Yeah. It's an
Yeah.
insane thing to ask.
And I literally tried the exact same thing with Linnea, and she's like, "I'll wear it, but I'm not eating it."
I mean, I'll wear it, but I'm not gonna eat it. I have said, maybe not publicly ever, but it's certainly in my own brain many times that having a kid, especially at a certain age range, like I started really feeling this way when she was in preschool. So around Linnea's age up to the present and foreseeable future, having a kid feels like being stuck in an elevator with a cult leader
Yes.
because like just like the rules of reality don't apply and the
Yeah.
things they say are so buck wild and they're
Yes.
so confident in their assertions about what is real and what is not and you
Mhm.
cannot escape it.
Yes.
I'm stuck in a phone booth with Donald Trump all the time.
It's
That's what this feels like.
no, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But like if you like you know what I'm saying though.
Yes, yeah, right. Yeah, I
Your
mean,
reality is not my reality.
yeah, we're like with a cult leader that, I mean, at least for now, right now, at this age, is still not speaking super clear English, so you're just kind of
That's
like,
the other thing too. Yeah, that their language
"Ugh."
is very particular, very idiosyncratic to themselves.
Yeah, they're and then they're trying to make and you're, yeah.
I can't make heads or tails of what the hell you're trying to tell me, dude. So many times I've had to tell Olivia, rephrase that, please. Use different words to say the same thing. Can you say
Mm,
that again with different words, please? And she can't because she's 5.
5?
The
The
theme
title.
already this episode.
Yes, the title. She's 5.
Because she's 5. Um, so yeah, communication skills need work. So yeah, so with our respective strategies and reactions, does it work? And why not, do you think? Because nothing works. It doesn't work.
Right.
Nothing works.
I mean, yeah, and it's just like what I was just saying, everyone says it's a phase, you just gotta wait it out. Well,
Yeah. Well,
mm, so, I mean, I do think I need to just continuously offer whatever I am making, and then and a second option that I'm okay with, I guess, which is
right?
always
I don't
gonna be
know.
chicken frickin' nuggies.
Yeah. Okay.
Chicken frickin' nuggies, title.
Frickin' chicken nuggies.
Chicken
Frickin'
frickin'
frickin' chicken
nuggies.
nuggies. So I talk about brainworms. Okay, so that does kind of lead me into the next point that I wanted to get to here, which is what do the experts say? I did a little bit of research. I would say very minimal, cursory research today. That's not counting the research I've done in the past, trying to figure out what the hell is up with the way this kid eats or doesn't. And the one thing that crops up a lot in non-expert reactions is they'll eat when they're hungry. They're
Yes,
not going to starve themselves. People say the same thing about dogs. You said the same thing about my dog. Guess what?
I still think it
They
will.
will absolutely just starve themselves. Mira went through a phase where she wouldn't eat her dog food because she was being snooty. I've seen this dog eat her own shit, but she won't eat the food I give her in a literal silver bowl. Okay, bitch.
Right.
And I was talking to you about it, and you're like, I don't know, just put it out there. She'll eat it eventually when she gets hungry. They're not gonna starve themselves, and then Mira will literally just not eat until she throws up bile from having an empty stomach for too long. And it's like, she will just eat. She will just starve herself. I have every confidence that and if we just no pressured approached Olivia on her food, we just said, here's the food, like, if I don't call her to dinner and make her sit down and try and eat with us, she just wouldn't eat ever. She wouldn't. She doesn't. I think part of it is like Olivia's had these like sensory recognition issues in the past, and I think they're still ongoing and manifesting in different ways. Like, I don't think she gets hunger cues in the same way we
Mm,
do. Also, again, she's 5. She doesn't have a super verbose like language with her own like internal body systems. Like this kid has never been cold ever. I think a lot of young kids probably are the same way because she's like, I don't want to wear a hat, I don't want to wear mittens, whatever.
Yeah, I'd
And
say
then like
that's more
sometimes,
common in older kids, though.
but like someday, like today, like we make her put on whatever because it's 20 degrees, 20 Belize to grow zero
It ain't
outside.
feeling like Belize out here.
Hey, you better believe it, baby. But like other days where it's like 10 degrees
Right,
above zero, she'll say, I don't want to wear a hat. I was like, okay, don't wear a hat then.
right,
Just on the way to the car. Let's see what happens. Natural
right.
consequences, which
Natural
I have been informed
consequences.
is maybe not the best approach. Whatever. I've been advised. Um,
Yeah.
but then like we'll walk the whole dog
The
without
whole
stuff
dog, not
the
even
into not
half.
even the back half like we normally do. And she'll no reaction. She doesn't care. Like she'll like if it's like 40 degrees outside in springtime, she's like, I'm gonna wear a t-shirt when I play outside. I was like, okay, dude, whatever. Like we'll bring the hoodie along. She never asks for it. She doesn't get cold.
Damn,
And yeah, I
that's
don't know.
crazy.
Like, does she actually just not get cold or does she just not recognize these cues? I think it's probably that.
Mhm.
I
Like, her brain
digress.
is just, like, already
Don't
filled
know.
with fun things.
Doff. So okay, this is another. I'm so in the weeds about my own kid. If I'm gonna get weeds in anything, it's better to be my own kid. I have this theory about brains and how they work, and it relates a little bit to pop culture. So it's not scientific really at all. I think everyone's brain has like a metaphorical structure to it, and how we access thoughts and memory is individual to everyone, and it can be like metaphorized into a physical place. So, like for me, I think of my brain as like a library with like the reference cards.
Mm,
O's brain is like a spreadsheet.
mhm.
Mia's brain is like an aquarium where there's just thoughts kind of floating around, and
Yeah,
sometimes a creature swims by and mixes everything up. Like if I need to access a thought or memory, or if I need to put words in a certain order to make a sentence that can communicate an idea, I go pull up my little drawer and then I flip through the cards of my index file in my brain castle, whatever it's called, my mind castle of the library, and I make the thought happen. I make an idea occur. Olivia, I feel like just reaches her elbow deep into this aquarium, just reaches her and pulls out a handful of God knows what, and that's what she's saying right now. And
fair.
that's what
Dude,
I
oh,
feel like I'm
man.
stuck in an elevator with a cult leader.
Yeah, you're right. I want Missy's
Dude,
opinion about this so bad.
do you know what I'm talking about? Have you experienced this at all? Or is this just me?
I mean, maybe in different ways, I guess, like,
Okay.
which I can't remember if I told this story on the podcast that Linnea yelled at me that dad is dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like how little brains work, and all of a sudden, like, the fish of our dead dad swam past, and she's like, "Oh, better grab that and yell about it."
Bloop.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, because I mean, which oh man, I see Missy on Thursday. I'm gonna ask her.
I'll try and get the episode out by then.
What's with the aquarium talk?
Look, what's with aquarium brain?
And she'll be like, actually,
Actually, it feels like this is my philosophy student who comes out. It feels almost like they are a passive observer of their own consciousness, and the best they can do is to comment on the things that they notice, whereas we are active participants in our own like memory recall and consciousness, and we are able to forge new ideas and new things.
I mean, I am always blown away when Linnea will talk about things, uh, like recall things and recall
Yeah,
parts of that was not the main topic. That was not like the
a
reason we were
hundred
there.
percent.
And I'm like, whoa, that
Dude, Olivia pulls stuff
what?
out that happened when she was like 3. That's half her lifetime ago.
Right.
And it's like a minute, like Mo and I have to do like detective work and be like, the action figure was in the sand, but there was blue all around. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Linnea did that. Mom bought her a little Grinch, And she said this is like baby Grinch or little Grinch, but Dad Grinch or Big Grinch lives at
Mhm.
the Christmas house, which was the house that had all the Christmas lights and they had a Grinch blow up.
Ah,
But Mom was able to put that together. I was just like,
right.
holy crap.
Moms have practice with the two of us having
Very true.
it's good. I think I've personally have had good practice with that, having lived with dad for so long, who would just, no context at all, say a
Mhm.
thing. He just
Yeah.
finish this. He would finish a conversation he's been having in his head out loud
Yep.
as though I have been present for it. I'm like,
Yep.
well, I know what you're talking about.
The
The story I
segues
love to
of it
tell.
all.
The story. Speaking of segues, by the way, everyone, we're thinking about changing the focus of our podcast away a little bit from fitness into more having ADHD and being a parent.
I don't think anybody knows.
Both of our ADHDs are just so well managed. I know it probably comes as a shock to everyone. But anyways, one of my favorite stories to tell about dad's non sequiturs is I was living at home after college during the summer, and I was in my room, just on my laptop or whatever, cruising Facebook as one does or something like that. And my door was open, and then mom and dad were in the living room, so I couldn't see what they were doing, but they were silent. They're not watching TV. They're not conversing with each other. Nothing is happening. And dad says, I'm reading a book. And that's it. Mom doesn't react. He doesn't follow that up with anything.
Yeah.
That's it. And I hear, I'm like, what the hell is going on out there? But I don't have to ask because I know what's going on out there. Dad's reading a book. Thanks, Dad. Anyways, one of the other things the experts say, aside from they'll eat when they're hungry, is basically bullshit. They won't. They'll just starve themselves out of spite.
um,
Uh, sorry, you
I
have more to add.
I did do a quick little recipe today that was a hit with Linnea. So freaking easy, packed with protein and fat. Um, and zinc and fiber. Uh, what a combo! You take the little or like any kind of cupcake liners. We have silicone ones.
Yeah.
Put a banana slice in them. Heat up some peanut butter. I added a little honey to sweeten the deal.
Ooh, good one.
And then you put it in the microwave for a couple of seconds till it's a little runny. Dump it over the peanut butter bite, and then I sprinkled some chia seeds on it, which we have nicknamed sprinkles in our house. Um, and
Rebrand.
she freaking loved it.
Sounds pretty baller, dude. I would eat like 12 of those, no problem.
They were so good.
It sounds like a treat. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
dude. I mean, and it's just like how many times that I've been told nut butters. So here's the GD nut butters.
There you go.
And one of the go-to foods, another little tip that I got that I shared with Em that she said, oh, that's a good idea. I was like, oh, well, thanks. That I got from Hey Sleepy Baby is if you have a kid that just remembers that they're hungry at bedtime after
Indeed.
not eating the whole day, then you can she says I will offer an apple or a banana at
Right.
the end.
Right.
Whole foods. We normally always have them in the house. Not delicious enough that you're only eating it because of whatever.
Hungry or whatever, yeah.
Yes. But Linnea has leaned in hard to that, and like right before she goes in the crib, she'll be like, I want a banana.
Now it's the stall tactic.
Correct. So now I
Yeah.
like beat her at her
Children will
own game.
weaponize everything against you.
Yes, 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 yes. So now before we even start bedtime, I say, we're gonna start bedtime. Do you want a banana?
And she'll
Every
say
single
no.
Oh, no,
And
no.
then
She says
you
yes.
tuck
She
her
takes 2 bites and then leaves it on the couch.
Ah! Like even on the table, on the counter, on a dinner chair, the
Nope,
couch, forget
the
about it.
couch. I
It's
found,
classic.
yeah, barely eaten Nana, and then 3 of my checks written out from my client shoved in the couch cushion.
That's where these went. Thanks, kid. Kids are cool.
So, yeah, my 2 little easy
Chance.
picky eater tips.
Those are good. I like those. One of the tips that they have is to start kids early and that variety is key from the very beginning. Like you were talking about the baby led weaning. That's something that's talked about a
Yeah,
lot
it'll
in
fade.
the yeah, exactly. It'll fade. And that plain inclusion promotes buy-in. And I like that a lot. You're talking about like the red pepper milkshake. What
Crunchy
are you
red pepper
talking about?
bracelet.
The crunchy red pepper bracelet. Thank you. Making it playful, or like one of the things that I saw on like a hot because I wanted to look at like hospital websites .org .gov kind of things, um, like what to do with like you're talking about pediatric feeding, pediatric picky eating was like pretend you're a food critic and that you have to be extra snooty and like that's fine, but like a 5-year-old doesn't know what a food critic is.
Dude, right.
So like I feel like there's a little that's a little high concept for someone in diapers who poops
So something
themselves every
that
single day.
we will do to do play, because like, I mean, I know there's like all these, like, you go really hard into it, like, oh, I wonder what my blueberry would taste like if I squished it and ate it like a dino. Like, I just don't
Right.
have it in me.
No.
But we will set up like her babies or her dinos and feed the babies and
Mm,
dinos, and then very often she will take a bite.
that's actually pretty smart. I have had to implement a pretty hard and fast no toys at the table rule because she'll get so distracted playing with the toys.
The toys are there to eat dinner.
But if they're there to eat, I actually like that a lot. I'll probably that might be my next best move. Is like toys can come if they're eating dinner and you have to feed them. I don't mind that at all, actually. So yeah, that's good. That's good play and inclusion. Basically, like when they help to make the meal, they usually eat a lot more of it. Not all of it, but a lot more of
Right,
it. You know,
right.
Olivia
They're
has
at
made
least
her fair
willing to
share.
try.
She's made her fair share of peanut butter jelly sandwiches, which she usually eats most of. Today, she helped me make the taco meat, actually,
Oh,
which
okay.
is that she opened the ground beef. She's because she wanted to like, I want to do everything, Dan. I was like, all right, dude, bet, let's go. I told her to get a block to stand on because usually she sits on a stool. I was like, get a block to stand on, no sitting in a kitchen. And she was like, what? She's like, she's like, what do you mean it can't sit? I was like, when you're in a kitchen, you need to move a lot. You need to be on your feet, walking around, taking up space. You can't be sitting down. You have to be on your feet. And she was like, oh. I went and got her big block to stand on. And she was like, I want to use this butter knife to, because I had the little pound
Oh,
of
yeah.
ground beef. It's just like, I want to use this butter knife to open the ground beef. And I was like, that won't work. You have to use the sharp one. And she's like, is that okay? Is that, like,
You're in the kitchen now.
is that okay? And I was like, I was like, yeah, hold it like this, point it that way, move it up and down, only cut away from you. If the knife is moving, it is going further away from you, never towards you. And she used a steak knife to open the thing, and she did it just fine. She didn't cut herself. She was
Yeah.
perfectly safe. I
I
was there
should
the
I
entire
should give you
time.
guys one of my the kid knife things. Now we have like four. We don't need four knives.
Oh, sure. That's funny because we need more knives.
All right, here you
So she did that. We put it into the skillet. It was hot. I
go. Okay.
made sure to
Do you
tell
guys have
her
gas or electric?
electric.
Okay. Yeah, I get a little more freaked out with having Linnea on the
If it
gas
was
stove.
full, if it was open flame, it might be a little bit different. Yeah.
I know.
But she was. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. My own AD, my ADHD is still managed, you guys. I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole though.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So, anyways, she made the beef. She played with. Didn't play. She used sharp things. She used hot things. She used long, heavy metal things, and it
Okay.
was fine. And
Yeah.
she ate with a plum, probably more than she normally would have of the burrito, which she usually likes to eat most of anyways.
Okay.
But it inevitably spills out all over the place because she can't hold a burrito to save her life. She's 5.
Have you seen the chip clip hack
What's that?
that you just like put a chip clip at the bottom of the burrito to like
Oh,
hold the
doesn't
bottom?
it get all like saucy?
I mean,
I mean, you could probably just wash it, whatever.
yeah.
It's a good idea. I'll have to look into that. You're just dropping knowledge bombs on me here today, dude.
It's because my life is researching
Yep.
kid things.
Yep. And I think that's a really good example of like our two different approaches to
Yes,
finding
right.
solutions to very similar problems, because you will do the work, you will do the homework, do the research, watch the videos, check the TikToks, all this stuff. And I'm just like, this makes the most sense to me. Brute force that solution. And it
But we
turns out
both have picky kids.
that they're
So,
both equally ineffective. So
right.
whatever.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like, yeah, every idea eventually fades.
Yeah. Yeah. So that brings us to the next point, that most of the most I try to pull points that were succinct enough to talk about on a podcast that's already nearing an hour in length, and that had the most overlap with the many sources that I saw. And another one was allow room for agency with the kid. That can include when they start to make the food, also giving them two options. Like I think you've talked about, like when we talked about, like, okay, it's this or that. It's whatever you're making or this standardized point. Let them feed themselves. I think that's more for like younger kids, especially if they're starting to like eat solid food or whatever, rather than spoon feeding your infant everything when they're in the high chair. Let them feed themselves.
Let
Um,
them get messy.
let them get messy. It's
The
every night's bath night, anyways, man.
Any listeners for really, really young kids, the IKEA high chair is the goat of high chairs. It's crazy
Is that
cheap.
your step up high chair thing?
No, that's a toddler tower.
Okay.
No, this is like an actual high chair, but it's 100% like plastic. There's no fabric on it, but it has like foot support. It hits all the things or whatever. But you can just put the whole ass high chair with the kid inside it in your shower and just hose them down.
What? Oh, that's dope,
Yes.
dude.
Yes.
Oh man, that would have been great.
Mm-hmm. Versus sitting there trying to baby wipe all that shit and
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think that's an interesting point that has a lot of overlap that I've noticed was a common theme in the solution finding here. Because one thing that got brought up a lot, just like, when I'm going to pull a Rachel, when I was talking to mom about this, uh,
Not Missy.
yep, not Missy, sorry. Mom has brought up a good point that it's like, at least partially, it's about control and like self advocacy and self
For sure.
agency, which I definitely believe, like, and it's the same thing with like potty training too. Like one of the few things a kid of almost any age is able to control is what goes in and what comes out, or at least when. So like that's why I feel like eating and potty is like such, like those are like the big ones. And I guess bedtime too, like when are you asleep? Those are like the big ones for us
Yes.
as when you're raising a kid, because they crave control, like all people do. They crave control of their own lives. And these are like the only things that they're able to control
Right.
because she's 5.
Right. Yeah, I
So
try to do the
I
two options with a bunch of
yeah,
things in life.
yeah, yeah. And it's one of those things where I have to constantly remind that's probably why I've said she's 5 about 100 times this episode, because I have to remind myself of that constantly,
Yeah.
constantly.
Yep.
It's so easy to get incredibly frustrated because I
Yes.
just need you to eat the food. I just need you to put your fucking socks on. I just need you to stay in bed. I just need X, whatever, to the moon and back with the I just needs. But they're little kids. They've never been alive before. I've never been a parent before, but that's not
Yeah.
her fault. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
It is my fault that she's been alive for the first time.
Blame it on me.
I am directly to blame for that. So it makes it my responsibility to help her deal with it. And I really, really have to work at choosing kindness and giving grace, holding space, whatever the fuck people say anymore, of just not getting mad as shit all the time at this kid,
Yeah.
even when she's very frustrating, because I do love her
Right.
so much. But
Right.
that's part of the problem. It's that, so because like I said, so many times, which when you say like it's time to take a bath, and she flies with the handlebars, love me, you wish I was dead, all this stuff. And it's like, no, kid, I love you so I've told her many times, I love you so much. That's the only reason I put up with this kind of behavior.
Yeah,
I would not accept it from someone I didn't love more than I love anything else on the planet Earth.
right.
Realize that, please. And that
Yeah,
usually stops her in her tracks and she can think I think that that hits a chord with her at some points. Um, but that brings me to my last point on the list here is that your reactions matter. Yes, they do. Kids eat vibes. They're
yes.
vibe machines. That
Yes,
you
they're
don't
not picky about eating vibes.
no, they will eat every single vibe you put out. You don't have they're not like an adult who's so wrapped up in their own shit, they don't notice when your vibe is off. Your vibe is the most important thing in the universe to them, and
Yes.
they pick up on that. It's like a literal survival mechanism. They have to be good at picking up on
Yes, yeah,
adult
right.
vibes, on parent vibes.
Yep.
So if your vibe is off, they smell it like a bee or a dog. If you're scared
A
or
bee
frustrated or
dog.
whatever, you like a dog, like a bee dog. So yeah, so don't focus on what they do or don't eat was it was an interesting thing. So like if they're eating something you want them to, don't praise them. If they're not eating something you want them to, don't admonish them. This is something I need to work on a lot. It's something me and Mo have to get on the same page with because I think because she praises a lot eating the right thing and I admonish a lot not eating the right thing. So we need to
Mm,
just both say less at the table. The thing I said was like, don't talk about the food, talk about your day, talk about what's going on with you,
yep,
whatever.
definitely. Yeah, a good tip that I saw was whenever you like serve them their food, just
Mhm.
it was like say the same thing every single time.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go. There you
Yep.
go. Doesn't matter what it is. But like so yeah, the not reacting thing. Um Specifically my friend Christina who has Linnea's best friend is her child and
Mhm.
they'll be eating and they're both pretty picky eaters and then we'll be hanging out and they'll eat dinner together or whatever and like Christine and I will just like make these giant eyes like holy shit she's eating meat, holy shit she's eating
It's happening.
yes or just like or we'll have each other's back secretly it's just like this mom secret language.
Totally.
She'll see like Evie's about to take a bite of something and then I'll like she'll look away and then I'll look at Evie so I can have eyes on it and I'll be like
Yes.
yes she's doing it.
Yeah, she's still eating it. Like mental high fiving across
Yeah,
the room. Yeah, dude.
absolutely.
High fiving with your eyes.
Yes.
That's
High
the episode
fives.
name. High fiving with your eyes.
High fiving with your eyes. Yep.
Second point on that, don't get emotional when they refuse. Again, something I need to work on. Becoming the frustrations are so real. And like it's hard, especially for me with cooking, because for me, cooking is something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
It is a way that I show love and
What?
affection preparing food, and it's hard not to take it personal when she just goes, without even trying it. But I have to not. I have to disconnect. I have to switch it off. And then investigate your own this is my own note. Investigate your own relationship with food and how that may be affecting your perception of your child's relationship with their food. And I came to this realization because when I was basically when I was writing the show notes here for today. I came to the realization because like how she approaches food is different than me because she doesn't really have an approach to food. For her, it's just something that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like food is there all of a sudden. She doesn't know when because she can't tell time. She knows it's lunchtime because she's in the lunchroom at school. She knows it's breakfast because it's the morning and we're all sitting at the table. She doesn't look at a clock. She doesn't get hunger cues, or at least not that she has communicated verbally in any way to us. Um, my relationship with food is fraught because I was overweight as a kid, so I have all that baggage, and then I wasn't overweight anymore, and I became very athletic. So that there's a whole other thing there, and like for me, food is like it straddles this weird line of between like it has to be for fuel and it has to serve a purpose, and it's like this very personal, like I said, like way to show affection and connection and love, and like art almost. Like, I can be very creative with it, and I love that portion of it. And for me, what so part of the reason I get so frustrated with Olivia's refusal to eat so many foods is because I get if my surprise listeners, I get frustrated with Olivia about a lot of things. And I think what a lot of it boils down to is because, God, like, how do I put it? It feels like she is choosing, this feels fucked up to say. It feels like she's choosing weakness in a lot of
Mm,
ways.
I get what you're
And that
saying.
and that bugs me. She
Right.
doesn't want, like, today we go to karate on Tuesdays and Thursdays now. She says she doesn't want to go to karate when I pick her up from school. Why? It makes me so tired. I feel she says it makes me floppy
It makes
because she just falls on the ground afterwards and is very tired. She
me
doesn't even her output isn't even that high, but it is an
right.
hour long of like physical, very mental
Okay.
activity for her. So I get it. I get it. I had a big conversation with her about, like, that's why we do hard things, because it's worth it to do because it's hard, and it's hard because it's worth it to do. By doing the hard thing on purpose, you get better at doing other things, and you get great exercise, and it's good for your body and your mind, and you learn a cool skill. And, like, I enjoy martial arts for my entire life because I did hard things, and I went to jujitsu, and it was hard on me and my body, but I go back
It
because I
made
get a
me
lot out of it.
floppy.
And I got very floppy at jujitsu. But it's like that, and like she doesn't want to walk the dog, and she doesn't want to go outside, and she doesn't want to eat food.
Right.
And like so much of my, especially adult life, so much of my life's baggage comes out of this play. Like, I look back at myself when I was young, specifically around like middle school, early high school, and how I have this very deep shame about that time, about like who I was at that point. I have this very like guts deep hatred of that person who I was when I was like 8 to 22 years old. I fucking hate that person.
So
He
funny.
sucks. It does. I was a very unhappy person for most of my life.
Yeah.
And that's not something I talk about because it's hard and yucky to talk about. I just do what everyone does, and I just put those feelings deep down inside, and they
I
stay
need to
there
do
forever.
therapy.
So it's so healthy, you guys. I'm so
Okay.
managed.
Okay.
But coming out of that now, as a 37-year-old father, it took a lot of work to like claw my way out of where I was. And because Olivia is so similar to me, I can see like the
Yes.
seeds. I can see the seeds of that, of like that personality type, that like mindset, that sort of like mental space, whatever, that put me in this place that I hated being, put me into this person that I hated. I can see that in her, and I
Right.
don't, and I don't want that for her.
Yeah.
One of the things I was made aware of or learned, I guess, very recently was that anger is usually almost always a secondary emotion. Anger is a reaction to other feelings, usually fear,
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
right? And for me, when I get frustrated, frustration is a type of anger. And when I'm frustrated with Olivia, I'm really angry with her. And when I'm angry with her, I'm actually afraid. I'm afraid of her growing up and thinking and feeling in those ways that I did
Yeah.
when I was
Right.
those ages, because I was fucking miserable. I
Right.
don't want that for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the food thing is just the food thing is just one of a long list of things that, like, if I feel like I have this like being older. Okay, so in Greek mythology, there's this person who was given the gift of foresight. She could see the future, but she was cursed that when she would talk about it, no one would believe her. I can't remember the character. I want to say it's Cassandra or something. And being a parent feels like that. And
Yes.
I can see the future for this kid. I have the
Right.
experience. I've been there. The things you're feeling and going through, I have done it. I have been there. But she doesn't believe me. I
Right.
mean, it's not she doesn't believe me. She's 5, whatever.
Right.
But like, you can't communicate that in a way that will be received and used to a young person until they're like 30. you know,
We're fucking real.
mom. I remember conversations with mom, basically telling me the same thing. If she listens to this episode, she'll feel the same stuff. She'll see it. Dad saw the same stuff in me. I know that's why we had such a weird relationship at times. But we don't need to unpack that right now either. Jesus Christ. Remember when this was about eating? What a time that was.
Remember this? We were switching it to having ADHD
Yeah, this is the
for no good
most
reason.
for no reason at all, really. You know what? It's been like a month. We got stuff to catch up on, guys.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cut myself off there. I'm gonna nip that in my own bud. Do you have any thoughts on investigating your relationship with food and how it might be affecting your perception of your child's relationship with food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think we all do.
yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, I just like a couple days ago, Eric wanted Linnea to eat some pizza. Who has to
Mm.
beg their kid to eat pizza?
Dude,
Us.
right there with you, man.
Yeah, man. And then so of course Linnea just wanted gummy bears, and Eric was just like, "You eat one piece of pizza, you get one gummy bear." And I was like, "Skirt, no."
Yeah.
Um,
Can't be doing that.
cannot be doing that. But
Turns out, which is like I feel like how that's the one that makes sense.
yeah,
Like a top down, like from a parenting point of view. If you
right.
haven't done all the reading,
Yeah, but like big picture, that's
right?
what's gonna land your fucking kid in eating disorder treatment.
Right. Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
that's just like what is so burned into me is that I do not want her to have the
Yeah.
same relationship with food that I have, and yeah, I mean, it's just like I even asked my therapist, who is a mom, and I said, "Do you overthink like every meal?" And she's like, "Good God, yes."
right. If you would think anyone would, it'd probably be like a nutritionist therapist, right? Like an eating
Well,
disorder
yeah,
therapist.
I mean, not
Yeah,
even a nutritionist, that's just science, but just like feelings,
dude.
oof,
Yeah,
way more abstract.
so
Um,
abstract.
yeah,
Because
so
I feel like your relationship with food is very much your relationship with yourself because food is
yes,
so personal.
right.
Yeah,
Yes, my relationship is so bad with food right now, and my relationship with myself is so bad right now.
totally.
And so I'm like, I just keep saying, I don't know how to get out of this.
Mm,
And so I guess I'm going to start the other way around and do the food thing first, because I would always be like, I don't know. So we're trying the different route,
Ryan.
doing the back alleyway. Not in the butt. Don't make it weird.
Mm. Okay, I'm not gonna.
Hashtag no butt stuff. Um,
Hashtag. That's not gonna be the name of the episode.
that's good. Uh,
What's
um,
our what's our next best move, Rachel?
I mean, I ordered some chocolate milk mix that's full of like superfoods, apparently. I don't know. It's full of like greens and
Oh, sure.
stuff for the kid.
All
Um,
right.
she loves chocolate milk. I'm gonna lean into that. It's ridiculously expensive, but if it gets
It
her,
gets her
and
in.
I did a
Yeah.
lot of research on it to find out if it's legit. They say it's legit.
Okay.
If
Because
we have a
you do
good
the homework.
experience, we'll talk about it. But yeah, and then next best move for me personally is to accept that my kid will not eat whatever
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat, so I should just concentrate on making food that I want to eat and food that I will actually eat instead of saying I don't want this, I'm gonna order DoorDash instead.
Sure.
So
Instead of spending $90 a meal.
correct.
God, DoorDash is expensive.
It
It's
is
such a fucking crime.
yes it is, dude.
God damn.
All right.
My next best move, I do want to try toys at the table are there to be fed.
Yeah.
I like that strategy a lot. I'm going to try
Yeah.
that out because I'm thinking of her gigantic red dinosaur. We call him Big Red.
I
Big
know which
Red
one
wants
you're
to,
talking about. Lene loves that thing.
Big Red. He's awesome. He's a large dinosaur who makes noises. Every kid will adore that.
Yeah, right.
So Big Red can come be at the table, but you got to feed him and you got to eat too. And for myself, uh, watch more Mister Rogers' Neighborhood. Feel like when we watch
Good
that together,
vibes.
because we'll watch it together, me and Olivia, and I legitimately feel like I'm a better father the
Yeah.
more
Oh,
I watch
yes.
that because
Yes. There are
it really
definitely shows that
instills.
make me feel like a better mom. Christmas
Yeah.
Skeletons, not one of them.
What is Christmas Skeleton?
It is specifically this channel on YouTube called Teehee Town, and it is all just like
Okay.
Halloween themed kids chant and
Weird.
just a bunch, so many variations on skeletons. They have a Christmas skeletons one.
Eh,
That's all she wants to watch. Help me.
be worse. Welp,
No, it couldn't. That's the worst.
I stand corrected. Hey, Rachel, guess what? This has been the RF Fitness Podcast. Oh, yes, I am available for online coaching. If you still want to, I have to crack myself wide open on the air if you want to coach with me. To find out if it's right for you, head to rffitness.net. That's, say it with me or don't, it's
Mm.
no skin off my back, rffitness.net, and then scroll all the way to the bottom of that page to see what kind of coaching I offer. You should do the call out application and hit join the party to jump in our community Discord server for free. Quick aside note, vaguely related to that, I started quest groups. Our small group training cadre kicked off officially this past Sunday, just 2 days ago. We do game nights a couple of times over the course of the 8-week program. And usually, that's last year. That's been like RPG nights. I'm scrapping that for a little while this year, and we're going to be doing a Jackbox Games night.
Fun.
Yeah, I'll probably do that on the Discord. That'll be Friday, January something or other. I don't know. Get in the freaking Discord and ask about it, dude. Try that. Our theme music is Funk AF by Everett Ullman, distributed by YouTube Studios. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And as always, keep
Keep
questing.
questing.
Blech.